Hello, and welcome to meet the mighty ME-163 Komet with OverArch. The ME's unique engines mixed volatile hydrogen methanol fuel with a highly corrosive hydrogen peroxide oxidizer. The Komet could climb almost vertically and could intercept bombers in a fraction of the time that it took propeller craft. Some of you may have heard the saying, "the bomber always gets through." During World War II, raiders were relatively short range, propeller craft had terrible climb rates, and in-air refueling had not yet been developed. This meant that interceptors struggled to reach incoming bombers. Most interceptions occurred after the bomber was returning from its target. In an industrial war, losing factories was far worse than losing bombers. The ME-163 was Germany's attempt to intercept bombers before they reached their target. The Komet's insane engine power also allowed it to dance around Allied bomber escorts, to the point where Allied fighters didn't even attempt to intercept Komets. There are many reports of Komets in level flight outrunning diving Allied fighters. The Komet's speed record of 1,130 kilometers an hour, or Mach 0.92, stood until the sound barrier was broken in 1947. Pilots described piloting the Komet as being in charge of a runaway train. The Komet's insane speed was also its biggest weakness. Komets commonly dove down on bombers, and at close to supersonic speeds, had only a split second to score 4 to 5 hits on the resilient bombers. The total flight time of only 6 minutes meant that Komets rarely got to make more than 2 passes on bomber formations, although later Komet variants improved this to a 12-minute flight time. Despite producing over 350 Komets, they ended the war with only 16 victories and 10 losses. Far more troubling, the Komet didn't have landing gear and had to use a wheeled cart during takeoff. This cart occasionally bounced, striking and destroying the Komet. Landing on an extendable skid, the Komet made its landing approach unpowered, leaving it incredibly vulnerable. Almost all Komet losses occurred at landing. In addition to that, enough fuel was still present in the tanks and lines to detonate if the pilot had a rough landing. That, combined with the Luftwaffe's lack of experienced pilots late in the war, meant that pilot error destroyed more craft than Allied fighters. One of the weirder variants of the Komet also had great success with Screage music cannons. 10 upward-facing, single-shot 50mm recoilless cannons were linked to a photosensor. When the Komet passed under a bomber, the bomber obscured the sun, triggering the photosensor and automatically firing the cannons. Simultaneously, the cannons were ejected out of the bottom of the Komet. This prevented the recoil from shaking the Komet apart. The Komet, while far from war-changing, ushered in the era of high-speed jet-powered combatant aircraft, and left quite the mark in history as one of the Luftwaffe's wonder weapons.